when it hits the fan. "I'm done. Get out," she screamed. The four of us exchanged glances. We all knew it was coming. Dad would be leaving. And what happened past that, who knew? "Nope, no more. No more excuses. I'm done. Get out." We hear footsteps coming up the stairs. Heavy ones, fast. We scramble out of my sister's closet into the bed, acting like we had no idea what was going on. Totally innocent. Really, on all accounts. "Come with me, kids," Grandpa said. "We're going to go for a ride for some ice cream." None of us move. "Come on, don't make this harder than it's going to be," he said. "No," we said unanimously. That was when Mom came past him, headed into my parents' room. Grandpa turns around and goes back downstairs, out of the way. We hear rummaging in the closet, and Mom goes down the hall with handfuls of Dad's clothes. She returns, headed towards their room again, another armload of clothes from the closet hangers, dangling from the necks and hooked to themselves. She returns. By this point, I realized what was happening. I walked out to the end of the hall and waited. She came out next with an entire dresser drawer from the tall chest of drawers of his dresser. "Move," she said, fire spitting from her dark eyes. "Why?" I asked. "What are you going to do with that?" I didn't move. I stood my ground. I was born a bowling ball that had transformed over the last 12.5 years into a brick house of a preteen. I had been recently conditioned to stop boys twice my size that were in a full lunge toward me during my first Little Giant football season. Nothing was getting past me tonight. "Move. This doesn't involve you," she fired back. Then she tried, or it seemed like to me at the time, to charge me and shove me out of the way. Nothing was getting past me tonight. I planted my feet and stood steady. She dropped the drawer to swing, or grab and move me. Something. I don't quite remember. I just remember the edge of the drawer smashing across the span of my metatarsal bones, the spike of pain and the fuzz that closed in around the sides of my vision. I was blacking out. I was disassociating quickly. Slap! I come back to the moment when my head jerks to the side and I fall off balance and out of her way into the kitchen. She picked up the drawer and hurled it out the front door and onto the snow-covered lawn. This was when I first saw the carnage ensuing outside. My dad, in his pajamas and bare feet, was collecting his clothes and loading them into the long, white Oldsmobile Cutlass Cruiser Sierra Vista station wagon he owned at the time that was in the driveway around the corner. That's when I heard the sirens, distant at first, but growing louder by the second. I remember thinking, I wonder what's on fire. It's cold. I start seeing the reflection of red and blue light bouncing off the clothes that are strewn across the yard and down the front concrete steps to the house. The neighbors' bare trees were reflecting the swirling lights, around and around, over and over. The county sheriff and city police car pull up, and the officers get out and calmly walk toward my dad as he dropped what he was holding and started toward them as well. They conversed for a minute or an hour. Time didn't exist. Another drawer, another handful of clothes, and another, and another. The city cop comes up to the stairs, looks at me, and asks to come in. I turned around and walked away, shoulders slumped, headed to my siblings that were still sitting on my sister's bed. I don't know what happened out there for a while. We heard muffled yelling and then silence, then some screaming and yelling and silence. If it wasn't quiet, it was loud. Grandma came upstairs and beckoned us with cookies and milk to come downstairs. That worked. Like little emotionless zombies, we marched in line behind Grandma, glancing through the large living room windows as we ambled along behind our elder and past the emotional chaos outside. The lights are still dancing around the neighborhood, and neighbors are coming across the street to offer assistance or to see what would be the next town gossip. I didn't know. We were downstairs for a while until the sheriff and the cop came down, one male, one female. One by one, we were asked to come with me, kiddo, so we could talk to you for a second. I don't remember the questions, or if I even answered any of them. I remember the officers turning around and walking away, and me lifting my right arm, straight barred, parallel to the ground, and lifted my middle finger in their direction. I still don't like cops.